Wow, wow, wow. Today I'm talking with Kelly Mason. She's a filmmaker and the founder of Kula Paradise. She's done groundbreaking work across the globe. Stick around. This episode is filled with lifestyle changes, motivation, and all kinds of nuggets. This is a great episode, folks. Stick around for the whole thing.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Welcome back to episode 5 of season 4 of Clicks and Bricks. Today, I'm here with Kelly Mason, and I am very excited to learn her story and what she's currently transitioning into with KulaParadise.com. Kelly, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Ken. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everyone. Yes, Kula. Kula means community or tribe in Sanskrit. So Community Paradise is what I'm building. It's an educational platform. And we have programs there for adult learners, teens, and parents. And these programs are really important because they teach you who you are and who you are being. Because I believe there are two things in our lives that we're doing. We're trying to figure out who we truly are so that we can explore our highest potential. And we're also, wondering who we're going to be in this lifetime, in this day. How do we access these parts of us that are serving in the highest good? So that's what my educational platform is about. This is based on 20 years of healing. I came into the power to heal 20 years ago after a very serious accident. I fell off of a galloping racehorse going full gallop on the beach of Tobago, West Indies.
Wow.
And sorry, my dog is in the background, so hopefully you're not going to hear this. Anyway, I was on a racehorse going full gallop, fell off and broke my arm right off at the base of the ball joint. And it took 10 days to find medical help. So in those 10 days, the only way that I could survive was to imagine healing golden light into my arm, into the area that was broken. And I slowly started dying. I had a near-death experience. As soon as I fell off the horse, I went to the other side and I got to experience the beauty and the love and the peace. And then for the 10 days to get to a hospital in Miami, I started to lose all my vitals. I lost my sight and I slowly was dying. Every part of me was slowly dying. And once we got to Miami and I was waiting there and they realized I had a very serious accident, the first thing they gave me was morphine, which overdosed me. So I had a second NDE. I went to the other side again. But when I came out, the surgeon said, we're going to need to take your arm. You're going to need a prosthetic arm. But I come from the film industry. So I spent 30 years in the film industry working with the best Academy Award-winning directors and cinematographers on the biggest television series and features like X-Men and Riverdale and The Night Agent. And so my friends found out that I had a serious accident and they said, you still need to win your Academy Award. So you need to tell the doctor to fix your arm. But Ken, I know this is all leading back to the educational platform, but the whole point is that during those 10 days, I always had the certainty that I was going to be fine. I never thought for a second that I would need a prosthetic arm. So when the surgeon said, you're going to need a prosthetic arm, I said, no, please fix it. So he said, well, you'll only have a little bit of function in the front and the back, and you'll be wearing your arm in a sling. And I said, that's okay. Well, after the surgery, he was in my room and he said, I needed to be here when you woke up. A miracle happened on the operating table. I've never seen anything like it. When we pulled you in traction, he said, the first time everything lined up perfectly. So they just pinned me back together. And 6 months later, they removed all the pins and I had full mobility, no pain. But I came into the healing power. And I came into this power that is so incredibly carte blanche. So whomever I tune into, if I tune into you, Ken, I can see all your childhood wounds. I can see your past lives. I can see your future life. I can see why everybody's in your life. So I can give you those answers of who you are and who you are meant to be. So I've created these programs on Kula Paradise for people to understand the truth, because there's a lot of noise out there. There are a lot of manifestation coaches. There are a lot of people that are really trying their best to help in the best ways they can, but they're only seeing only a part of the picture. So that is what Kula Paradise will offer you, is understanding the whole picture. I call it the Trinity: the soul, the self, and the source, right? So the
Beautiful.
creator, your soul, and your human self, and how that all moves together in this lifetime.
In my book, I talk about some of my past life regressions and transcensions. So it's I've had a few handful of those moments in my life, and they are profound, and they're things that you just can't explain with any kind of science that we have today. And I talk to, not only hosting the show Clicks and Bricks podcast, I talk to entrepreneurs on a very, very regular basis, and it's hard not to transition into mindset show and things like that, because the underlining structure to a lot of successful entrepreneurs is the trauma and overcoming the trauma and learning how to navigate our planet in a way that is conducive to you as a human. And when you learn how to do that, you can kind of just move through the world and flow through the world. And rocks are just obstacles, and we can go around them so much easier and flow. It's a really beautiful thing. You touch on something that I don't really consider much in life anymore, of who I'll be tomorrow. I really have two moments in time that I focus on, and that's right now and the moment that I'll be on my deathbed for this life. And am I doing the things right now to make that person happy and proud? And that's what I strive for in my life today. But I like the concept of thinking about where I'm at in business, and goal setting and things like that are very, very important. So I really love what you're doing, Kelly, and it's really cool and inspiring. And boy, I bet we could spend just days together talking about that kind of stuff. Super
Awesome,
exciting.
Ken. Thank you. No, it's amazing for sure.
So that's Kula Paradise, but this is not your first rodeo in business. And for entrepreneurship, creativity is a cornerstone of entrepreneurship. And my businesses that I've started, my first business was like vending machines, and my very first successful business was hosting, and it's still operated today. Data center company, right? Kind of big, bulky business to business. And I've had people ask me oh, you're a business guy. And I kind of look at myself as more of an artist, as a creator of things, right, in the world. And I look at entrepreneurship that way. Filmmaking is one of the rawest forms of entrepreneurship that I've ever seen. You have an idea, you create it, you put it out in the world. It probably won't make any money, but you want it to, so that you can pay the bills and do this full time. Can you tell us just a little bit about that mindset of, because I run into a lot of people, and what I would call, the entrepreneurs, they've got to overcome this. I've got to do a whole lot of work without getting paid. That's my practice. That's paying my dues, right? And I don't think enough people understand that, really. They want this instant gratification. So from a filmmaker, and I know that is a rough gig, how do you tell people, hey, you're going down this path in this journey, it's going to be rough, but you're going to love it? How do you get them to have faith in doing the work without getting paid?
I love that. I love that. Well, first of all, Ken, when I do look into the souls of people and I see what is most important, and really what source or God looks at after, once we go back to the other side, it's never about how much we've been paid or what identity we carried or what credentials we had. It's about how we served. So when you can go into your life knowing that you're being of service for the highest good and whatever creative that you're passionate about, then you're on the right track. So for the filmmaker, just an example of when I moved to Costa Rica with my kids, I had a spontaneous intervention with Tony Robbins. believe it or not, on my road in Canada, where I'm from. It was my darkest day. And I was pushing the stroller, and this huge hand came down in front of my face. And I thought, wow, big hand. And then I look up, and it's Tony. And he says, "Hi, I'm Tony. What's your name?" And I said, "I'm Kelly." He said, "Are these your kids?" And I said, "Yes." So what are their names? He said, "Joella and Jesse." He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "What are you going to do to get okay?" So I said, "I'm going to take a yoga retreat." He said, "I want you to take that retreat right away." So at that point, I went to my yoga class, and my teacher said, "I have one more spot left for my retreat in Costa Rica." So I took it, went down to Costa Rica, got a message from God directly. "You are to come here and serve me. Throw all your fear into the ocean today. Your path of service is here." I tried to shake that message for 2 years. Everything shut, all the doors shut in my life. My marriage failed. I couldn't work on film sets full time. I had 2 little toddlers. My production company wasn't, so I had, a lot of different things going on. Everything stopped. I remembered that message. I put my house up for sale, sold in 5 hours. The universe was behind me. I went to Costa Rica. And as a filmmaker, and I'll tell other filmmakers now to get back to your question, is that when you have a story or a purpose that you need to tell, you will be guided, you will be directed to do that. And to continually remember, even if you don't even know what the outcome's going to be, to know that you're going to be guided. So when we got to Costa Rica, for the first 3 months that I was there, we were living in this yurt on the beach. People heard Kelly the healer is here. So I had people lining up for healings. I was doing healing after healing every day for 3 months. And I thought, oh, this is my path of service. This is why I'm here. But then one morning, one of my friends called me and she said, "My son had an asthma attack in the middle of the night. He almost died. It took us a half an hour to get him to the clinic. I have to take him out of school. It's a health hazard." The roads aren't paved in the southern Nicoya Peninsula. And so all of the people, especially the children, were suffering from chronic disorders, lung illnesses, cancers from select. So that was my calling. I knew that was the message that I got from God. And from that point, I spent 7 years using the camera as my weapon, in a way, to get into presidents' offices. So I got in and I met with 2 of the presidents of Costa Rica, ministers of transportation, Congress, etc., to pave these roads. But I wanted an eco-intelligent solution because I saw that there was illegal landfills everywhere, plastic waste everywhere. So I thought, okay, how am I going to use plastic waste somehow in road construction? So I partnered with the national laboratories. This is all an entrepreneurial way of thinking, right? As the filmmaker, we're going step by step to understand, how do we partner with people? How do we get the financing behind us? For me, I never got any financing. I got big brand partnerships. So I partnered with Toyota. So I got a Hilux truck that was auto wrapped with a picture of the kids on the side of the truck. Kimberly Clark partnered with us for masks. This was before COVID. We went and partnered with a national laboratory, huge. We did 4 years of testing, which would probably have cost $500,000. And they proved that the use of recycled waste materials in road construction worked better than the volatile modifiers that Dow and some of the large oil and gas companies provide currently. So through all of this, I had the camera rolling, and the kids were turning the cameras on themselves. And we documented for 10 years our journey. It's now, our film, Pave the Road, is now being shown in 70 countries and 17 languages around the world, in schools, libraries. It's available everywhere as a format for the entrepreneur, filmmaker, to be able to make massive change in the world. And we created environmental legislation. So the legislation mandates the use of plastic waste in every road project in Costa Rica. And we triggered an investigation into the government. And there were 72 corrupt government officials jailed because they were keeping the money for road construction. So there's no roads being paved in Costa Rica, yet there's millions of dollars. They found $125 million embezzlement. The biggest scandal ever in Costa Rica was uncovered from a single mother, me, with a camera, with a mission to be able to be of service to a community, to help these kids breathe fresh, clean air. We ended up paving 42 miles of road on the peninsula. And, that's just one story. And there are many stories that are untold of people like myself that are documentarians that risk our lives, basically go out and we're not working, no one's paying us, right? But it's so fulfilling. This is the most fulfilling work because you're making a difference in other people's lives.
And it's been my experience, when you work on those things that call you, the money will come, right? My experience with Reclaim Sobriety, my book, I was trying to write one of the books that I'm working on now for like 6 years. I was trying to write this book and I couldn't get it out. Reclaim Sobriety kept coming out. My author kept saying this is what it's got to be about. And I could not get out what I wanted to get out. And I finally said, screw it. I'll publish the Reclaim Sobriety. I don't want to be a sobriety coach or anything like that, but I'll publish it. And the people that it resonated with have touched me in such a profound way that I don't think I'll ever live my life a different way again. So I love that you talked about that, but I want to go back because I've also seen entrepreneurs and people get stuck in a specific spot. And I see it more with entrepreneurs. I see male and female entrepreneurs a lot. Actually, it's across both genders. They get what I would call, and I know more about addiction than most people on this planet, I think at this point, they're addicted to learning and they're addicted to healing. They're addicted to that process. And it does feel really good, right? Going back to school, going on a healing retreat, doing all those things. I want to ask you, as somebody that's been on a lifelong healing journey and the trauma of 10 days without a cast, being somebody that's been in similar situations, I know what that kind of tenacity is to sit in that pain and be able to put it out of your mind for that long is wildly challenging. And I know it so well. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. How do you get somebody out of the mindset of, everything you need to know to move forward? You're healed enough today to move forward. Doesn't mean your healing journey has to stop, but it's time to start moving forward. How does a person know that?
Yeah. So first of all, the best way to get out of it is to be curious. That's the first thing. You want to have curiosity around what's my next goal and how can I succeed and how am I going to be able to continue to serve, right? So when you're in this like learning healing mode, yes, absolutely. There's a time and place for that. That's what we all need to go through. But as an entrepreneur, you need to be curious about how am I going to check off this next thing on my list. So it's really about creating those lists of getting to your goal. And those lists are made from a belief in yourself, again, a certainty, a knowing. You want to be curious how the universe is going to bring that to you. It's like a game. It's like, you can just go out into your day, even if you have no guidance, and say to the universe, show me the next person or show me the next step. And that's when the miracles happen, because then you're on a high frequency of trust. You're in this state of coherence with the universe. You're in a partnership. You're not in the, okay, I'm all alone. I need to figure this out. There's so much noise out there. I only have 5 followers. No one pays attention to me. Like, these are all illusions. They're really not how it works here. So yes, just definitely be curious and understand that you're here to play on a much higher frequency. It's a different playing field. And the people that are extremely successful, the millionaires, billionaires, they know this. They're always open. They're always training themselves to be in a happy place, in a happy-go-lucky place. And And the most successful folks know that relationship is most important. So how can I nurture the relationships that I have, and how can I continue to meet the people that will allow me to achieve my goals?
Absolutely. And folks, I'll tell you from my personal experience, and I'm a bit of an old man, you're not going to have really great external relationships until you have a really great internal relationships. And I know that sometimes when you're looking in deep, that path can seem wildly narrow, and it keeps getting more narrow. But I promise you, if you can't stay on that journey, that narrow will open into a wide expanse of constant expansion, and it will just keep going. And it almost does a flip for you. And the world just turns into something completely different. Stay on your journey, keep going, but also start thinking about what tomorrow might look like for you, and start taking the action today. You have enough knowledge and you're healed enough. You can start taking action today. And those actions are what's going to move you in the direction that you really want to go. And you'll continue healing and you'll continue on your path. And it's going to get dark. But on the other side of that darkness is some pretty feelings like a human never knew you could have, right? I grew up in a world of, if it feels good, do it. And that led me to a lot of hedonism throughout my life. As I realized that was not a good path for me. And I found my spirituality. I find it in a completely different place now. And Kelly, I thank you so much for doing what you're doing and helping other people go down that path. It is so needed. On episode 4, we talked about breaking the matrix and what that looks like. And we're talking about the same thing. We're just framing it a little bit different. The world is a beautiful place and you get to live in it. And thank you for doing what you're doing and helping other people find that.
Thanks, Ken. And I love what you said about really going within and going, it is from the heart. And that's the secret to success, is the ease of going back to yourself, into your heart, and to loving yourself and loving your heart, because that is where source is, because everything is from within. So I look at this moment now as our past, right? This is present. This is the present, present, this moment. So when we continue to go into our hearts and have our visions and are using our imagination, but also knowing that we're here on assignment. So we're pretty much guaranteed to do what we're meant to do. So don't worry so much, everybody, about like, well, you guys are doing great. Well, look, everyone's on their own assignment, whether it's big or small, or whatever you're doing on that entrepreneurial journey is exactly where you're meant to be right now.
Absolutely. I think it's Joe Dispenza that says, I'm probably saying that name wrong, that your personality is your personal reality. And so if you want to work on something, work on yourself, make your personality better, because that's what your personal reality is going to be. It's only you on this planet. Everybody else is your projection. Do what you want to do and try to be amazing and have some fun. One of my acceptance speech says that this planet is your gift and frolic on it however you see fit. Kelly,
I love it.
Your documentary paved the road, not only won cinematic awards, but also sparked real world environmental reform. How did you balance the artistic vision and the advocacy to drive a tangible impact?
Beautiful question. So the artistic vision is built in for me. I started as a photographer at a very young age. I was in the darkroom at 13. My father built my first darkroom for me. I've always been a visual person. And having started in the film industry at 18 and being on set now I'm 57. So how many of years that is, it's just been ingrained in me. 30 years on set and just knowing how things work as a camera operator, cinematographer, we need to understand how to cut everything together. So that was very easy for me when I was out on the field with my cameras. I knew exactly. I would tell my kids, okay, go over there and get this wide shot. Jesse, you stand there, get a low shot. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be moving with the camera. So that just all happened. And then in terms of advocacy and pushing things forward, I know that innately we all have good in us and we all want to help. And I know that these politicians deep down, these are humans. These are people that have elected to be politicians. And even though that, there's a corruption factor and people go sideways on that innate goodness is there. So I always move forward with giving people the opportunity to express their goodness. So when I created this, got behind this technology to use waste materials in road construction, had already been done in other countries. This has already been proven. There's a patent on it already in India. I partnered with the patent holders. I licensed their patent. And I went to the government. I said, look, this is a licensed patent. Here's the national laboratory results, certified, run with it. Basically, the 7 years that I spent, I gave to them so that they would go ahead and push it through. So that's how I use advocacy. I don't fight. I give them the win-win situation so that they can't say no. And then, whether my name is remembered or I receive a result from that on this human plane, great. But I know that what's most important deep down is that, when we cross over to the other side, did I do my work the best I could on assignment as a service provider, as an eternal being here to love everyone? Am I serving that way? And that's what's most important.
As a brilliant business, right? Create a win-win scenario. And folks, what Kelly did was she saw two different ecosystems, one that could help the other, and she just brought them together. But that's called as orchestration. We do it all the time today with AI. If you need business automation and AI, reach out to nlink.com and they'll help you automate your business by taking the things with AI, integrating into your business to automate those things away for you so that your business can be more effective. Kelly,
Yeah.
as a woman navigating high pressure film sets and the director of photography role, that's a tough one. What challenges have you faced and what strategies or mindsets helped you lead confidently and effectively?
Beautiful question. Yes, it's being, I actually broke the glass ceiling for women in the union in Western Canada. I was the first female cinematographer in the union, and I'm currently putting a manuscript together for Taskin called The First Lady of Cinematography, where we review the 30 years that I spent kind of working my way up the ladder. So, you know, one of the main things I would recommend to female cinematographers now or any female entrepreneurs is to not let your gender get in the way. This is really about how you connect with people and how you lead. And as a director of photography, of course, my crew is usually 100-man crew. Big projects like The Night Agent, Riverdale, etc. We are there to work together to realize the strengths in others, to allow others to bring their ideas to the table, but still streamline everything so that we continue to move forward very efficiently. We have call sheets, we have days that we need to meet, meaning we only have so many hours to shoot scenes and get things done, and everything is based on actors' availability and scheduling. So all of that is very important. We're working with millions of dollars. And, so really the main thing for me was just to continue to move forward. The challenges that I see now are that, the industry is changing a lot. There's a whole different landscape. And we, as female cinematographers, we're getting some opportunities more than we used to because it used to be mostly a boys' club. And that makes sense. Again, it's about relationships and who we know and who we like to play golf with and who, it was that kind of thing. It was the boys' club. So it was a bit harder for women to break in. And a lot of women will still argue that's still true. But truly, in essence, we create our own realities. We are here to just do the best we can. So I say move forward and give everybody a chance, be fair to everybody, stay calm. And, calmness, people know me for my calmness. They say, it's nice to work with Kelly because she's calm and I know what I'm doing. Know your craft.
Absolutely. You talked about something that I really want to touch on because this is a nuance in business that I have stumbled on in my life. And I'm positive that if you have more than 4 employees, you're going to run into this hurdle. You want your staff to bring ideas and challenges to the table quickly. You want to have a forum for that. But you also, when you're executing, when the film's rolling, or you're deploying code, or you're executing the plan that has been put in place, and people are it's not the time to bring those challenges in. We're working on that. How do you create, in a high tense scenario situation like filmmaking, software deployment, revenue impacting deals, right? These are all high impact revenue situations. Running film is costly. Running software code is costly. How do you create an environment where people can share openly, but they know that it's got to be in the right time and the right place, and it's not in time to execute? Execution's execution, pre-production's pre-production. How do you create that environment?
Great question. So first and foremost, we go out there as the leader, right? There are a couple leaders on set. There's the director and the cinematographer. And the level of professionalism that we work at has a hierarchy. It's a very high level. So my crew and my team know that they don't come in with their ideas and do things without my permission, or even without my signal of asking them what they think. I will ask if I want ideas and input, and I know, and I want to give somebody the opportunity to come up with a better creative idea than me, because that's what your team's there for. My gaffer is going to know how to light a scene with specific lights better than I will. I have the vision and I know what the director wants. So it's really all about communication. So, that's when I'll say to my gaffer, what do you think? So that's how we run it. We run it through, they wait for me to ask the question and to be given the opportunity to contribute. And if there's a problem and they see that there's something really going wrong, then I trust my team to come to me quietly and say, hey, Cal, we should get rid of this. Or what do you, and then I'll be like, yeah, great. Perfect. Thanks for that. Thanks for catching. Thanks for, covering my butt on that.
Absolutely. So, one of my mentors says a lot, give me good news fast and bad news faster. Like, give me the bad news fast, give it as fast as you can, give it to me personally and quietly, and we'll move forward. But don't just make up issues and bring them to the table in the middle of execution. It's a toxic environment. I've seen it, and I've seen projects just be completely destroyed because of that kind of mentality. So clear, open communication and a clear hierarchy of, this is the project that we're doing. We've got the scope of work laid out. If you're on the job, this is the job. There's no other job to be done right now. This is the only job. And it's really important to do. And that team has to work together in a wildly effective way. And when it does, it's intoxicating and one of the most beautiful things of the whole world to be a part of. Totally. I really love being on sets and doing those kinds of things.
Yeah, me too.
Looking ahead, what kind of stories or projects are you most excited to champion next? Either as a director of photography, creative consultant, or producer? And why does that direction resonate with you now?
Love your questions. Yeah, so currently I'm producing a project for a novelist who won the Oscar for literature. And it's a very interesting story because it is based in spirituality, but it's challenging the dogmas of religion. So for me, I am only interested in projects that will bring awareness, enlightenment, self-realization, some kind of evolution for the soul. I also do like working on comedies. Like, it's fun working on a set where everyone's laughing all day and we're behind the camera and we're trying not to burst out in full laughter. Those are a lot of fun. But currently, and I also want to see independent filmmakers succeed. I feel this is the golden era for independent filmmakers now, given the way the industry is headed. Yeah, so we're just on our second draft of the script for the adaptation of his novel. And if you follow me, if you go to Kula Paradise, my website, KULAparadise.com, and get on our mailing list, we're going to give you a play-by-play action of how we're making this film, the journey. And I've also written a book called The Art of Film Consulting, which is really a great roadmap for independent filmmakers. It just teaches you step by step how to make a film, what you need to do, how to get financing, how to have distribution, to all of the steps that you need. So, yeah, I just want to champion great stories that bring well-being.
Beautiful. I absolutely love it. I agree with you. The comedy is a great place to be. I left the entertainment industry in 1999 and went into IT. And with AI and everything, I did it for a very specific reason. But with AI coming and robotics coming around the corner, I'm looking over the next 10 years to exit IT and go back into entertainment. And that's what my retirement will look like for me. And I'm super excited about that. And it's because now technology and entertainment have just completely hit this beautiful place to work together and meld together. It can make an individual a powerhouse. And no longer do we live in a world where artists have to bend their vision to the dollar. And I love that about our planet right now. And it is just so exciting. Kelly, I've had such a great time talking with you. You've told us about Kula Paradise. Just one more time, give that a shout out. So if somebody wants to work on that program, how would they find it? And then what specifically, who is that program for?
Okay, great. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, it's called Kula, Kula Paradise.com. And my signature program is called Activation. And it's a 6-week self-guided program that will change your life. It's guaranteed to transform you if you do the work. And I give you step-by-step, day-by-day workbook per week with live coaching replays, meditations, breath work, everything that you need to become a freaking powerhouse. Like, it's incredible. I just put my inaugural cohort through the program, and everybody's lives have taken off in these incredible directions, whether it's wealth or relationship, marriage. It's just incredible. So yes, that is what I'm most proud of right now. I'm offering some spots on my magnetic program. So it's 50% off. If you want to go to kulaparadise.com and apply, you will be coached personally by me over 4 weeks with a small cohort. I'm only accepting probably 10 people at the most. It's very affordable. I think I'm just charging $1,500 US to join this program. Magnetic is going to give you the opportunity to understand spiritual magnetism, human magnetism, literally be a magnet for everything that you want in your life, which is going to give you the opportunity to not try so hard. It's going to make your life easier. And whatever your dreams are, I'm going to help you achieve those. I'll also be doing personal tuning. So I'll tell you where your blocks are with the site that I have. So yes, please head over to kulaparadise.com. I'm on Instagram, Kula Paradise, not very active on there. I also have a YouTube channel, Kula Paradise, where I have, I think, about 72 guided meditations. So yes, that's where you can find me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelly, for giving us all this information in your time today. We've reached the time of the show, and I've had such a fun time today. But my favorite podcast is The Diary of a CEO, and we have the card deck from them. And this is a random question. I don't know what it is. And here we go. And this is from Massey Williams. What is your deepest fear?
Beautiful. My deepest fear is that I will not serve and use my time in the best way that I can while I'm here. I actually I had a little breakdown the other day driving from Canada to LA with my son, and I just started to weep. And he said, "Mom, what's wrong?" And I said, "I'm spending too much